You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
In Walmart's Who'Knewville, everyone ready their cart. Amazing Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember. It's only the 25th to the 30th of November. Set your alarms. Don't miss out. These deals are epic, without a doubt. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
Hi, this is Katie.
And this is Nathan.
And you're listening to Queen's Podcast, the show about women in history. Hey, Nathan.
Hey, Katie. How are you today? I kind of already know.
I'm good. Don't do that. Nathan's making fun of me. I went out with some friends last night for a friend's birthday, and we had a very good time. And so Nathan's making fun of me because I'm not hungover.
No,
I'm just tired.
Yes.
I'm just a little tired today.
Yeah, but when you message me, you're like, oh.
But we had a lot of fun. There's this place in Austin, the Escape Game. And so we did an escape room, which I let them know up front. I was like, guys, I am not going to be an asset in this game. I am here for the vibes. I will be here to vibe the whole time. And I was correct. I did not help at all. I'm just, escape rooms aren't my strong suit, but I was there for moral support.
Music history or feminist history, you're out.
History was no part of the escape room. It's puzzle solving, and that's just not how my brain works. But it was fun. And then we went to this restaurant in downtown Austin, Tiki Tatsuya, which is like a themed tiki restaurant, and it's very method-y. The waiters are all like method actors. It was very cute. It was very fun. Then we went back to our friend's house and did musical theater karaoke until like 3 a.m.
That's what keeps Katie there.
How are you, Nathan?
Pretty good. I've been binge watching Black Mirror. Need to kind of give it a break because it's real dark.
What season are you on?
I think season 5.
Is this your first time entering the Black? Okay, I want to talk about this to you, maybe off mic so that the people aren't bored to death. Have you gotten to the episode Hang the DJ? It's the only Black Mirror episode that just has a happy ending.
I don't think I have, no.
Okay, I would love your thoughts on that one when you get there. Have you gotten to the Miley Cyrus episode yet?
No, I have not. That one sounds exciting.
That one's really fun too. Okay, let's circle back to Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror. I'm excited that you're going on this journey. And you know who else I think would love Black Mirror?
Who?
The person we're talking about today. What a perfect segue, actually.
I bet she would. So who are we talking about?
Nathan, today we are here to talk about Helena Blavatsky, or Madame Blavatsky if you're nasty.
Ooh, and who was she? A famous writer and mystic who popularized the esoteric movement in the late 1800s.
Yes.
And she co-founded Theosophy, which is an occult movement that went on to inspire everything from Western esotericism to the entire New Age boom. That's right, y'all. We're about to get a little woo-woo with this one, so buckle up.
Buckle up with the woo-woo shit, which, we love. So, some hailed her as a prophet. Some swore she was a fraud. Either way, she left one hell of a mark. So, these next 2 episodes might get a tiny bit controversial. But, Nathan, tell us about this mocktail?
Yes, it's called Black Magic Mocktail. So I took 13 blackberries and then muddled it
13. I like that. I like that.
Muddled it with 6 blueberries until it was nice and gushy. If you don't like little bits and pulp, you might want to strain it. But then I took that, mixed it with 4 ounces of pineapple juice, And then I had this little drink from HEB, which is a grocery store here in Texas. And it's got chamomile tea, strawberry, cherry, fig, blueberry, and honey. So obviously, you're probably not going to be able to find this. So you could easily just substitute like cherry. And then I would recommend putting the chamomile tea in it. And I did about a shot of that, mixed that with all of the pineapple juice and berries. And then I took 2.5 ounces of non-alcoholic gin because this girl didn't drink alcohol. She was very much against it. So I was like, ooh, she's into the woo-woo. I don't want to upset
Don't want her
her
coming
little
for me.
Yeah, be a little safe here. And then, yeah, that was pretty much it. You just mix it all together and it is really good. It's very, very delicious.
And you know what, though? If you did want to go crazy, add a shot of vodka to it or something.
Yeah, you could put real gin in it, but both of us are like not real huge into gin.
I'm not a gin girly. No.
But you could easily put vodka in it and it would be tasty. I'm sure you could even maybe try to sneak a little whiskey in it if you're feeling extra spicy. But...
Whiskey if you're frisky. Yeah.
But it is very, very refreshing, super tasty, super delicious, and makes you feel good when you're drinking it without the alcohol because you're like, oh, I'm getting lots of vitamins and good stuff. Help my liver out a little bit.
All right, let's get into it.
Helena Petrovna von Hahn was born on August 12, 1831 in Yekaterinslav, which is modern-day Dnipro in Ukraine. That makes her a Leo sun and Libra moon. Leos, big Leo energy, confident, generous.
We love us some Leos.
Yes, they step up if there's a leadership role. And a Libra moon strives for harmony and balance while being charming. If you're going to start a cult, I really feel like this star alignment is going to work in your favor.
This is a good setup. I love it. She was born into an aristocratic family in the Russian Empire. So that means that she was like immediately baptized into Russian Orthodox Church. So her mom was the daughter of a Russian princess, and her dad was the descendant of the German Han noble family. So this is all to say that our gal is, her blood is blue, as you might say.
Blue.
Yes.
Fun crossover fact is her great-great-grandfather was a French Huguenot who escaped to Russia to avoid, being killed. And he served in the court of none other than Catherine the Great.
So at the time of her birth, there was a huge cholera epidemic in the Russian Empire. And her mother, whose name is also Helena, they both contracted cholera. And all the doctors pretty much assumed they're goners, that they're going to die because that's how sick they were. But against all odds, they both survived. And I have to wonder if hearing this story your whole life, that you were supposed to die, you got so sick and you were supposed to die. I have to wonder if hearing that story your whole life does something to you to make you feel like you're so special. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really think it affected her personality just a wee bit. Because, she's told
so
this.
special.
Yeah.
You were supposed to die and then you didn't. Oh my gosh. Like, they rushed to baptize her or christen her. It's christen when it's a baby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they rushed to christen her because they assumed she was going to die. And then she didn't. So it's like, oh my gosh, we went through all this fuss and then you survived. You're so special. So maybe that'll have some bearing on her personality later. I don't know. Anyway.
So let's discuss her parents a little bit so we can understand her upbringing and the kind of people that were raising her. First of all, Mom, also named Helena, was only 17 when she married her dad, a guy named Peter, who was nearly 40 at the time. Boo, this is so gross.
Gross. Could you even imagine if somebody came to you now and was like, here's a 17-year-old that you're going to marry? Like, what do you even talk to a 17-year-old about? Like...
Gosh, I don't know.
No,
thank you.
That wasn't the norm in Russian society back then, except very specifically only for the nobility. So I think people have a misconception about the past that it was normal for people to marry, for old men to marry teenagers. Anytime in history, it wasn't really. This is pretty much exclusively a nobility thing.
Yeah,
But
and her dad was like,
rich people problems.
yeah, rich people problems 101. Also, her dad, like a military guy, and he was really strict, super firm and gone, literally like all the time.
Yeah.
Basically, what you think of when you think of a high-ranking military official from Imperial Russia. However, later, Helena would paint this picture of her dad being like this oppressive, ironclad dude that went around the far reaches of Russian Empire, beating down revolutionaries and killing people all the time.
Like, she would paint her dad that way as like this hard ass, but that was probably an exaggeration. That was probably highly exaggerated in her childhood to make her childhood sound a little bit more dramatic than it was. And this is going to be a recurring theme in Helena's life that we will get to. So put a pin in that. But maybe he was. But most historians probably agree that, like, he probably wasn't nearly as brutal as she likes to paint him to be.
Her mom and dad, while it doesn't sound like they had an unhappy marriage, it also doesn't sound like they were well suited for each other.
Right.
Mom Helena was really smart, fun, and described her husband Peter as unimaginative.
Direct quote. Ouch.
Ouch, I know.
Yeah. Like we mentioned, her dad is a high-ranking dude in the military. And as military dudes do, like, part of the job is you got to move around a lot. So that meant growing up, Helena, her family was on the road a lot. So she's basically like a Russian 19th century, like, equivalent of an army brat.
But her dad was on the go so much with his job that he didn't see Helena for the first time until 6 months after birth. Just to give you an idea of how involved, quote unquote, aristocratic men often were in the lives of their young children.
Right. And so in their time moving around, like, the greater Russian Empire, she would have met a lot of different cultures. And so I know we've done a lot of episodes in the Russian Empire, like pre-revolutionary Russia. So anybody that's never listened to those before, though, Nathan, how ginormous was the Russian Empire, Imperial Russia?
Oh, huge. Like, it was enormous.
Like when Catherine the Great came to it, she was like, hey, somebody get me a map of all of our lands. And they were like, map of all of our lands. Because no one had ever mapped out all of the lands before.
Nobody knew how big it was.
And so there was all these different cultures and customs. And they're going to kind of like rural areas. That's kind of like where Helena's going to be going. This is going to really shape her formative years. So remember, huge, massive land, lots of subcultures, which come with their own lore and spiritual beliefs. And we're not sure when or where, but somewhere along these early years of being a military brat, Helena heard her first spooky story.
Ooh.
And she went, oh, I'm going to make this my whole personality.
And she did.
And she did.
During the first part of Helena's life, they traveled around more rural parts of the Russian Empire, think modern-day Ukraine. Their family would have likely had hired staff from the areas that they had moved to, and they would have hired locals, including people from the Cossack communities. And Cossack culture has a deep tradition of oral storytelling. And yes, we're talking the spooky stuff.
Spooky stuff. Yeah, like folklore, spirits, ghosts, forest creatures. Yeah, like most folklore does have kind of like that mystical element to it. Helena just leaned into that part of it, like hearing these stories, and she would become obsessed with these elements of what she picked up during this time.
So she's learning this folklore that probably wouldn't be the curriculum of the everyday Russian lady of the 19th century. But since she's of the aristocracy, she's also going to have regular tutors too. So she's
Right.
probably going to be learning things like French, German, music, maybe a little history, sprinkle in some philosophy.
Right. So, like, not the deep education that the boys got, but the respectable girl of the aristocracy package.
Ooh, sign me up. So growing up, she's absorbing this really unique blend, the polished St. Petersburg style noble education and the rich folklore traditions of the rural communities that actually made up most of the vast Russian Empire. And I think that's really, really interesting.
It's a really interesting blend that she got that we don't, because we've talked about a lot of the aristocracy, a lot of women from the aristocracy of pre-revolutionary Russia on this show. But her education, her upbringing is such an interesting blend, I think. However, I will say life as an army brat wasn't all that easy. Because like we said, they're in these really rural areas. And I think sometimes rural areas still deal with these kind of issues, with hardships, because like they were so isolated. At one time, Helena had a little brother that got sick and died because that town just didn't have access to a doctor. I mean, I think a lot of rural communities still deal with that kind of stuff, you know?
It's true.
So, like,
it's true.
yeah.
Like the nearest
So, like,
hospital's 2 hours away. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. She would have also kind of learned about the struggles of not living in a big, rich city as well, on top of everything. So it's a really interesting upbringing, on top of being very privileged, too.
Yeah, right? Which is why the family was probably really stoked when Dad got a break from his post and were sent back to St. Petersburg for a while when Helena was about 6 years old. How this affected baby Helena, we really don't know, but we know Mama Helena was like, oh, thank God.
Thank God. Okay, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole about Mama Helena. She is really interesting. This woman, so she was an author. So when they get to St. Petersburg, this is when she really starts her literary career. And I mean, again, she's only, let's see, if baby Helena is like 6 or 7, and she had her, when Mama Helena had her when she was like 17, she's still like in her early 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
So she starts her literary career. She starts publishing these novels under a pen name, which I think we even talked about that in our Georgiana Cavendish episodes. Like, that's what you did. You wrote under a pen name for aristocratic women. All of her novels were about aristocratic women married to men that they didn't love and the crushing weight of societal expectations. I wonder where she got her where she got the ideas for those books about.
Maybe it's a little close to home.
Yeah.
Her brand was sad Russian women with too much money, not enough emotional support.
I wonder where she got her inspiration from.
Such a total mystery.
And Mom's literary career was pretty successful. I mean, she wasn't like the most famous author in the world, but she was steadily published and critics usually gave her a thumbs up. Like, I think she only published 3 novels, but she was also publishing like short stories pretty steadily. She was well received and she was a working author. So that's awesome.
Yeah, as a woman in the time, that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's really cool, I think.
Yeah, and both Helena and her sister Sophia would go on to be published authors themselves, so really fucking cool.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it showed Helena from a young age of like, hey, women can have a career too.
So after a year in St. Petersburg, Dad was like, okay, I've got a new post. Let's go, family. And Mom was basically like, no. I'm staying here. Like,
no, thank you.
You can go, have fun. I'm good. And me and my daughters, we're staying here. See you when I see ya. Bye.
Okay, now y'all want to talk about some spooky shit?
Of course.
I know y'all do.
Of course.
Like we said, Helena started hearing that folklore from a really, really young age. Our girl never lacked for an imagination, something that would continue on forever and ever. And also from a young age, Helena would have had these episodes where she claims that she would slip into trances. And when she came out of them, she launched into these dreamy monologues about nature and spirits and the unseen world. Our girl was basically a tiny Victorian hippie. She's really leaning into that woo-woo.
Is this just a really dramatic kid craving attention? Honestly, we have no idea. Can two things be true? Yes.
Yes.
So most of these stories come from her own writings years and years later, or from family members who may have been hyping her up. A lot of critics are like, y'all, she's making this shit up. Like, this is all made up. Hello. But either way, it planted the seeds, like these little episodes that she had as a kid. Either way, they got her attention. It kind of planted the seeds for the woman she'd become.
Maybe this is a good time to go ahead and give a big old disclaimer that anything where Madame Blavatsky is the primary source should be taken with a giant grain of salt.
Yes, if you are looking for an unreliable narrator, you got him, baby.
Either way, we know that she was interested in the occult from very early on, and this wasn't all that unheard of back in that time. All of Europe was kind of in its Gothic phase at the moment, and the Russian Empire, no different.
So I love Gothic phase, and we can continue to call it that. But just so those keyboard warriors don't come for us in the comments and on like YouTube and Spotify and come for us, let's go ahead and let y'all know that this movement was called the Romanticism movement. We're going to call it the Gothic, like the emo phase, the Gothic phase. Yeah, the Romanticism movement. It's dramatic. It's black eyeliner. It's black lace. This is the time of Frankenstein and Wuthering Heights. It's emo. It's Gothic. It's like, it's not a phase, Mom. It's just who I am. You know, like, it's
like they're having seances in parlors, wandering through graveyards for the vibes.
The vibes of the graveyard. Yes, yes. Everyone was one bad day away from writing about a ghost lover. Yes.
Yes. Occultism was very trendy at the time. So it was cool to be into tarot, astrology, believing in psychics and whatnot.
Love it. I'm here for it. It's also important to note that science is making a big move at the moment. So people are starting to question, like, Christianity, which mainstream, which hadn't been questioned in a really long time. Like, wait, scientific discoveries are happening that don't really correlate with what you're teaching me in church, but you're telling, so wait, how do we take the Bible literally when we're learning things that tell us otherwise?
Yeah, they've been discovering dinosaur fossils, but you want them to believe that God created the world in 7 days and on the 6th day he created man? What day did he create the dinosaurs?
When did he make the dinosaurs, man? Like what?
That was left out.
That part, this big part of the Bible. When did he do the dinosaurs? Yeah. So
dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
What we're getting at is this. Was Helena having some kind of psychic experience from a young age? Did she just hear some folklore as a child and really dig it? Or was she leaning into a cultural movement that was really having a moment in Russian society at the time?
But whatever it was, it's only going to get weirder from here.
Yes.
And I think this is a good time to take a quick break.
Yes.
So I'm going to go top off our we swear, Helena, no alcohol in this drink.
Yeah, don't want you to haunt me.
We'll be right back. All right. Well, we are back.
Yeah. So after a few years in St. Petersburg, her dad got a really important posting. So he was going to be in big cities and, leaving those little rural towns. So
Right.
Mama Helena was like, okay, cool. Let's pack up the kids. And they went and met up back up with her husband. And we see the family moving around a lot some more. Just won't stop.
Yes. And this is where we see even more of Helena's personality come through. And from a young age, we learn that girlfriend is a handful.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Leo. Of course, she's a fucking handful.
Yep.
Like, are we surprised? Her mom tells her, we are going to have such a hard time marrying you off, which I feel like is the Victorian equivalent of like when people tell little girls now that they should be a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. You should be a lawyer. It's like, ouch.
It's like, it just means like, you are kind of a bitch. Like, but it just means like what she's telling her is just, you are so hard-headed. You talk a lot. You argue. You are too much.
And here at Queen's Podcast, we're like, and look at us.
Where is
That's
the
us.
problem? Yes.
But this is the 19th century aristocracy. These were not desired traits in wives at the time.
Right. Fun fact, during this time of like traveling around with her family, Helena apparently met a Buddhist for the first time in her life. And it may have piqued her interest into learning about other religions for the first time.
Moving around a lot, learning about lots of religion. This may be important later. In that. Now, and we're going to say this so many times in this story, the way Helena would sometimes recall this meeting later in life would be like, this was life-altering. This was a spiritual encounter, and they taught me so much.
No, y'all, she was like 8.
No.
It's not like she would have spent any time alone with this random Buddhist dude that she met. Like, she probably saw some guy in passing and asked her dad, like, that guy had some cool beads. What was his deal? And her dad would have been like, oh, that was a Buddhist. Yeah. End of story.
But Helena, being Helena, later turned this into a bit of an origin story of her quote-unquote ancient Tibetan masters, which we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later. Anyway, I'm sorry to report we have to switch gears a bit into some bummer shit territory. It is time to be sad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mom Helena had never really been in amazing health, and in 1842, she caught tuberculosis and ended up dying. Her mom was only like 28 years old, super young, and Helena was only 11 at the time. And this turned Helena's life upside down. One, because her and her mom were really close, but two, because now she has to go live with her grandparents.
Yeah, and you think that military dad, do you think like her military dad was gonna like step up and be single dad now?
Nope.
I really couldn't find how many siblings. Did you struggle to keep up with like how many siblings Helena had?
I think there were 3 kids total.
There was at least one sister and one brother. And then there were a couple of other sisters that maybe died. I was confused. Either way, it's not like the dad was going to like step in and be like the guy from Full House and be like a single dad. And like,
Did you really make a Full House reference?
Yeah.
I love that.
And so like it's like, okay, you're going to go live with some relatives now. And she goes and they all go live with the maternal grandparents, who are also pretty high-ranking folks of the nobility as well.
Yeah. And once with the grandparents, Grandpa gets transferred for his job as an important aristocrat to Tiflis in Georgia. And this is where Helena grew up. This is where she spent her formative years.
Yeah, like her early teenage years and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like where she's really developing her personality. Her family says that she enjoyed playing with the quote unquote lower class children. I would like to say that those are their words. Like that lower class comes from like her like journals of like her families.
we would have been considered the lower class.
We would have, yeah. Hi, she would have liked playing with us, yeah.
Yeah.
So she liked playing with the quote-unquote lower class children. She liked to read stories, tell stories, and play pranks on people.
Love it.
Basically, she just wasn't interested in being like a little noble lady. She'd rather be out in the streets playing with like the neighborhood kids than sitting inside practicing embroidery or whatever else it was that the noble girls were supposed to be doing.
And Tiflis at this time, ooh, a cultural crossroads of Eastern philosophy had become really trendy. People are fascinated with superstition, spirits, mysticism, all of it. You name it, it's there.
She's surrounded by folklore, nature, animals. So she's surrounded by like folklore, nature, animals. She grew up with a love of nature and animals. She's learning how to ride horses. She's learning a bunch of different languages that maybe weren't in the regular curriculum. She's just forming her own little kooky personality.
So the following is debated, just like everything else in her story. But she says that she discovered a secret library that belonged to her great-grandfather, and he had been a Freemason. So he had shelves upon shelves of secular books, you know, the kind the Orthodox Church was absolutely not handing out.
Right.
Esoteric philosophy, occult theory, ancient religions. Basically, shelves full of do not read this, young lady books.
So which means Helena is like, oh, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to read all of these if they existed.
Yeah, very on brand for her. So let's quickly define esoteric because we're going to be using this terminology a lot. When you're esoteric, it basically means that you have to be super duper special in order to understand all these words on this page. And if it sounds a little gatekeepy, it is gatekeeping.
It is, yes.
It's the belief that the meaning to life is only shared with a select few people. The public can't be let in on what's really going on because it would just make their minds melt.
It just melts their little brains, yeah. Esoteric knowledge is basically gatekeeping, but spirituality. Spiritually gatekeeping, yes. It's the idea that the real truths of the universe are reserved for a select few, a chosen few. Everyone else, sorry, no enlightenment for you.
And if you haven't picked it up yet, Blavatsky likes to go against the grain.
Yeah.
If she was alive today, she'd be in that anti-establishment camp. Anything mainstream is the exact opposite of what she believes in. So she is eating this kind of shit up.
And it's during this chapter of her life that she claims to have met a mysterious Indian man named Maury, which Maury is going to play a very weird little role in the rest of this story.
Yeah, very strange.
Maury was Mahatma.
If you're thinking Mahatma Gandhi, you're not that far off.
Right.
Mahatma means great soul or great spirited. And they're supposed to be guardians of this ancient truth about humanity. And he would share with her the secrets of the universe. And according to Helena, Moria starts teaching her universal secrets and sends her these psychic messages, and it's for the rest of her life.
Now, did she actually meet an Indian traveler in Tiflis?
Yeah, but it's very
Possibly.
possible. Yeah,
Possibly. Like we said, it was kind of a cultural... Georgia kind of sits in a place where there could be people from east-west traveling through, like... Sure.
Did he become her lifelong mystical pen pal? Ooh, what was that? No. The jury's still out on that one.
Okay, let's do a little bit of skimming over the next few years because shit's blurry. And it's her moving like with different, like she kind of gets tossed around to different family members over the next few years, like back to Georgia, back to Russia, back to like with an aunt, with her grandparents. Like
It
let's
was
just do
so
some skimming.
confusing to research.
Yeah.
They're like, because now she's back in modern day Ukraine, and then she went to Russia, and then she went back to Georgia, and then she went.
And
it's
then
like,
also there's shit that like maybe she's making up. Like there's this story about how maybe she went with her dad to England and performed on the piano in front of this world-renowned pianist who was just like, oh my God, her raw talent. I can't teach her anything.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Or maybe Helena is just making up a lot of shit about her childhood. So let's just skim through all of that and get right to the real woo-woo shit.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. If you thought things were woo-woo before, hold on to your butts. Because when she was about 15 or 16, she starts to claim that she's having these real paranormal experiences. She claims that she starts to astral travel. Nathan, before this, have you ever heard of that term before?
I've heard of like the astral plane only because I think it's in like one of the Marvel movies.
So when I was a kid, I read this. My favorite author, this will not surprise you at all. My favorite author when I was a kid was this woman called Lois Duncan, and she wrote books about psychic kids. And
Katie was like, it's me.
She actually wrote a book. She wrote the I Know What You Did Last Summer book.
Oh, that's
which
why
the
the
book
name
is
sounds
about.
familiar.
The book is about psychic kids, and they just completely changed it for the movie. There's no psychic elements in the movie. The book, that is actually one of her least woo-woo books. But I knew what like in the book they call it astral projection, and I knew what this was since I was a little kid because in this book. And I used to try to do it as a kid, but I would just fall asleep.
I can totally see it. You just sitting there being like, I'm going to astral project myself into a next dimension.
Yeah.
But Katie, what in the actual fuck
For
is
those
astral
that didn't
travel?
grow up just reading novels about psychic kids as a kid, let's do a TLDR on this because it can get real weird. It's an out-of-body experience, just to give like a very easy, like condensed explanation. It's an out-of-body experience someone can have while meditating, basically. It's believed that your soul like leaves your body and goes into the spirit world. Kind of like the upside down in Stranger Things, kind of. You're in between the world of life and death, and like you can maybe communicate with angels and shit, you know?
So while her peers are like going to balls and doing embroidery and learning how to pour tea correctly, Helena is out there on the astral plane talking to angels and stuff.
Okay, girl. Like, she's at balls. She's on her own balls. Like she's having a ball with some ghosts. And you know what? That's what I'd prefer. You know what? I'd actually like to do both. Can I do both?
Can I ask both?
Can I do both of them, please? That sounds great.
And I think that's another good place for us to take another quick little break.
Take a quick break and we will be right back. I'm sure our sponsors are going to love this segue. So be right back.
And we're back from the astral plane.
Yes.
And let's bring Helena back to Earth.
Back
please.
to this dimension. Yes, Helena.
And because it's the 1800s and she's a woman, she really only has that one job in life and, you know, to get married, have babies. And she's 17 and she's expected to do what her mother did at 17. You know, marry a dude in his 40s. Barf.
Big barf energy. So the groom to be is a dude named Nikifor Vladimirovich Blavatsky. He nailed it. And he was wealthy and in the aristocracy. So on paper, this makes perfect sense. Despite everything else we're going to tell you, it doesn't seem like in any way, shape, or form that Helena was forced into this marriage. Do you agree? It doesn't seem like, because we've talked a lot on this show. We've talked in scenarios on this show about women that were like made to marry a man, like kicking and screaming down the aisle. It kind of sounds like she did this to herself, right?
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't seem like anybody forced her into this, right? Okay. I want everybody to keep that in mind with everything we're going to get into. Let's just all agree that she was a willing participant in this until she absolutely wasn't.
And that's why we need to back it up a little bit.
Back it up. Back it up.
This Nikifor guy seems like maybe he had a passing interest in the occult, which,
Right.
given that it was trendy, doesn't seem all that wild.
Right.
Helena, later in life, gave several different stories about several different things into why she agreed to marry this man.
The reasons ranged, like, it kind of seems like when asked, well, why did you marry this man later in life, the reasons changed, like, with her mood that day.
Yeah. Yep.
I married him to prove my family that someone would marry me, or I wanted to get married to escape my super strict father, or he tricked me. I was tricked. Like,
and honestly, no facts, just vibes. This is just my assessment on the situation. I think her family was being like, oh man, you're 17. Oh, old maid over here.
Past your prime.
A good old little Abner reference there.
Yeah, I know.
He was a guy from nobility that kind of looked at her and was like, hey, your kooky woo-woo vibe, I dig it. I'm not going to make you stop doing the ghost shit, astral plane, whatever it is you do.
Yeah. Like, that is my take on the situation. Again, no facts, just vibes. That's my assessment, is that she was like, I need to get married to get my family off my back. He has money. He's into the kooky woo-woo shit. He's not going to make me stop doing the kooky woo-woo shit. He seems nice. Why not? You know, like, I can be married, I can be a kept woman, and I can keep astral projecting and talking to my psychic pen pal Maury. Why not? I honestly think that was her train of thought.
Yeah,
agreeing
I did
to marry
too.
this man.
She got to still be herself. He kind of accepted her for, at the time, it wasn't really popular to be an outspoken woman. So he was okay with it. So I think she was like, okay, this seems like it's going to be okay. But shortly before the wedding, Helena changed her mind. She's like, I don't want to marry this old man. So she may have tried to run away before the wedding, which, hey, guess what, guys? This might become a trend.
Helena is a runaway bride. So there's a diary entry from Helena's governess about this engagement and the wedding. So first of all, it reads that the governess does not like Helena from the jump. So this all might be super biased of, like, the governess just doesn't like Helena like, fundamentally as a person. But the governess is like, everyone told Helena no one would marry her, not even, like, the ugly old man down the street. Meaning Mr. Blavatsky. I know, right? I know, right? Poor Mr. Blavatsky, jeez. So to prove them all wrong, Helena goes and basically convinces Mr. Blavatsky to marry her and comes back and is like, hey, proved y'all wrong. And then immediately goes, oops.
Accurate. We don't have any information about the wedding, really, but we can all take a big sigh of relief. It was never consummated, because I don't think they were even in the same room long enough for it to be consummated.
Right.
This girl was constantly running the fuck away from him.
Her first runaway bride attempt was right after the wedding. I can't tell if that means, like, the wedding night or, like, 2 or 3 days later, but it doesn't really matter. Her family caught her and brought her back to him. They were like, no, you are his responsibility now. We are not. Wow. And so, no, thank you. Like, here you go. And, like, immediately brought her back to him.
And I feel a little bad for Mr. Blavatsky. I mean,
I know.
in some of her diary entries later on in life, she shows that she hated him, that she really hated him. But it doesn't seem like he was a bad man or anything, and it doesn't seem like he tried to force her to consummate the marriage, which he very well could have. But
especially back then, like where it was basically you were the property of your husband. He seems pretty chill. Like he kind of just seems like, what did I do wrong? Like I kinda feel bad for him.
Like what the fuck just happened? Why did you try to leave me? This teenager just shows up, talks me into marriage, and then runs away and embarrasses me in front of the whole society. What the hell?
And Helena's second runaway bride moment was much more successful and permanent. So it's about 3 months into their marriage, and Helena has had time to plan things out a little better. She has gotten advice from her buddies on the astral plane, I think, is what happened here. I'm not running away. I don't know. No factious vibes. So she packs a little bag. She tiptoes out. She sneaks out in the middle of the night, jumps into a carriage out of town, and is about to make her escape when, fuck, she's caught again.
Yeah. This time Blavatsky's like, oh gosh, just like put her on a ship, send her back to her dad. I don't want to deal with this anymore. If she doesn't want to marry me, I'm not going to
She doesn't want to be married to me?
Yeah, I'm not forcing her to be married to me.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
If my husband kept trying to run away from me, I'd be like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'd be like, okay, like, don't be with me then. It's totally fair. It'd be like, and also in this situation, it's not like they have kids together. They've only been together for 3 months. They haven't even consummated the marriage. It's like, go.
Yeah,
bitch,
let's go.
Just go, like, take her away. Whatever.
Let's pretend this never happened.
Let's pretend none of this happened. You are just an expensive mistake, because I'm sure the wedding was expensive, you know? Let's pretend this never happened.
This is how the story goes, according to Helena. I feel like everything
according
we say...
to asterisks, according to Helena. Yeah.
Believe it if you want.
Yes. So Helena's on this boat because they're in, where are they? They're in, no, they're not in Georgia. So, but dad is in Odessa. And so they're like, we're just going to send her back to dad in Odessa. And so the only way in these days to get her back there is on a ship. So we're going to put her in a boat, put her on the ship back to Odessa. She's on this ship and she's like, Dad is going to kill me. Dad is going to be so pissed. And so she goes up to like the ship captain and is like, hey, I know you're supposed to be taking me back to Odessa, but what if we didn't go to Odessa? What if you want to make some extra money? I got some pocket change. What if instead we went to Istanbul?
Istanbul, not Constantinople. Istanbul,
not Constantinople. I guess it would have been Constantinople then,
it would have been
right?
Constantinople.
It would have been Constantinople. Yeah, Istanbul, not Constantinople. Istanbul. And yeah, so according to legend, she bribed the ship guy, the captain, whatever, ship guy. She bribed the ship guy to bring her to Constantinople instead of to her dad in Odessa, and just escaped. Magically.
Yeah. And literally everything else over the next 10 years of Helena's life is totally disputed.
Could you imagine how pissed her dad, the reports of how pissed her dad was, though, just standing on the docks of Odessa waiting for that boat to come. And like after like 2 days when the boat just doesn't come. And they're like, somebody eventually is just like, oh yeah, that boat docked in Constantinople. And he's just like, where?
What? Excuse me?
That boat docked, that boat went to Constantinople. And he was just like, this fucking child of mine. He's like, you know what? She is a problem for the astral plane now. She is no longer my responsibility.
Hey, why Constantinople though?
Because that's where the allegedly totally super real spiritual master Maury is. The guy that she met when she was younger, who she's been speaking to telepathically and hanging out with on the astral plane all these years, told her to go. Duh.
Either way, this starts Helena's 9 years of just backpacking across the world.
Her lost decade.
Yeah, where in the world is Madame Blavatsky?
Yes, actually. So historians really dispute a lot of her stories from this time for several reasons. One, because like women at this time weren't really able to just travel as free agents alone by themselves in many, many places in the world. And also, no documentation besides Helena's own, like, just super promise this happened accounts exist about most of her travels, you know?
Mm-hmm. Her critics say that she probably joined the circus and traveled around performing as a medium, and others would say that she would actually dress like a man so that she could travel between countries. Either way, she says she traveled to Eastern Europe, Greece, Egypt, and it's there in Egypt that she was inducted into this super secret Egyptian society, aka cult.
While she's traveling, she learned about all these different cultures and religions, and she is loving it.
Yeah, in places like Egypt and India, she said that masters taught her the way of ancient religions. And this phrase, ancient religions, kind of becomes not just an obsession of hers, but kind of an obsession with the whole spiritualist movement and Theosophy as a whole. But we're going to save that for part 2.
It also just kind of feels like cultural appropriation.
Bingo!
From there, she travels to Paris and then England, where her bestie in the astral plane, Maury, tells her that she needs to go to Tibet.
Instead of, traveling through Asia, which would just make more sense, she decides to take the longest way possible to Tibet by going through America.
Okay.
Talk about choices. It's there that she says she visited New Orleans to meet some voodoo practitioners. Then she says she went on to Salt Lake City to see them Mormons. And then she says she went to San Francisco, where she boards a ship to India.
She spent a lot of time in India, where she learned Hinduism. Or maybe she just learned enough about Hinduism that later Westerners would go, oh, wow, that lady really knows her shit about Hinduism.
So, life according to Helena, she says that after a few tries, she was granted entry into Tibet and lived in a monastery and trained with an ancient Tibetan master who gave her secret wisdom.
And guys, hey. No, she fucking didn't.
No, she fucking didn't.
She did not. She just fucking didn't.
There's absolutely no way Miss Helena can just walk into Tibet in the 1850s and said, hey, yo, I'd like to learn your ways. They wouldn't let women in to the monasteries.
They didn't let no, it's not even the monasteries. Tibet as a country was closed to outsiders. And it actually kind of pisses me off the way that she tells this story of like, oh, I tried 3 times. And on the 3rd time, they could tell that I was like so dedicated that they were just like, you know what? Let's let this white lady in. No, they weren't letting. Sorry, this really pissed me off.
I know.
It was closed. No, she fucking didn't.
Yeah, without going too into it, it's like Britain and India and Tibet, they were all not having a good time together.
They were not having a good time together.
They would have not let a Westerner in. Period.
They didn't let her in. Is what we're getting at. And so the fact that she's like, no, I trained at this Tibetan monastery for 2 years. That didn't happen. Mm-hmm. However, she does later in life have a really advanced knowledge of things that were primarily taught in Tibetan monasteries.
Mhm.
So my assessment is that she probably went to the gates of Tibet. I don't fucking know. I don't know what the system was. But like my assessment is she went to the gates of Tibet and was just like, knock, knock. And they were like, this fucking chick again. And I bet they probably just sent somebody out and was like, let me give you a crash course so you will leave us alone.
Yeah.
Like maybe she just like met some people that like were just like, because she's a persistent bitch and she's
Yeah.
obviously very charming. And she's like just met enough people that like taught her enough stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she obviously, is it David Koresh that we talked about that kind of had a bit of like a like photographic memory where you memorize stuff like that? I think she's kind of got that going too. So
I do too. She's very, very well. I mean, was she just well-traveled, an intelligent woman, or
Yeah.
was she a fraud?
And can two things be true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that was her wild and crazy gap decade.
Yeah.
And who was funding
I
this?
could not figure out who was paying for this wild and crazy gap decade. Like her husband, her dad. Maybe you're right. Maybe she was in the circus. Like,
Yeah, it's so unclear. But she's coming up on the end of her 20s, and she's like, okay, I think it's time to set roots somewhere.
right.
And that's when she gets wind of this new movement happening in the West. It's called
Right.
spiritualism.
Oh, we've heard of her before.
Victoria Woodhull.
Yes. A movement full of woo-woo with women in leadership roles, you say. Okay. I could head to America.
Ooh, and I think that's where we're gonna leave part 1.
Yeah. All right, guys. See y'all in part 2. Cheers.
Charles.